Hi everybody, welcome to another video. I'm Dana Claiborne, language arts tutor, and today I am continuing a lesson track on personal expository writing, and I had it in my heart to do lesson 1, which involved the writing of the first personal expository writing assignment that I usually share with students to begin practicing personal expository writing. So today, I want to just do a quick review of the outline practice or the outline method for writing personal expository essays and writing assignments before I get into the actual prompt itself. And so the first thing I want to do is switch to camera 2, and we'll go ahead and get me on it as well. Alright, so this was the original PowerPoint guide that I used to share personal expository, the format for it, the format for personal expository writing. So this is just in review. This is a style of writing in which you are revealing something about yourself. And so that's what personal expository means. Personal means about you, and then the root of expository is the word expose. I like to point that out, which means to reveal. And so that is the genre or classification of writing that this particular essay prompt or style of prompt is intended to produce. Okay, so just wanted to make sure that's nice and clear before we get started. Once again, a thesis statement is something that you want to be aware of when writing any kind of expository or persuasive essay. Thesis statement just means the main idea you're going to discuss in the essay or in the writing assignment. So it often responds to the main request or question that you're asked. So whatever you're asked, and I use this sample, if the question is, what is your favorite color? So the thesis is going to answer that question and provide the basis for everything you're going to discuss inside the writing assignment. So this one says my favorite color is pink. Not really, not mine. Mine isn't really pink, but it answers the question. And so that's what the thesis does. Okay. So the outline itself includes the thesis statement and the jobs of what's going to be written in each body paragraph. And so I share these principles with students. The first thing you want to do is decide what the writing assignment is asking you to write. So that's what determine the purpose or purposes of your essay. That's what that means. Learn each individual instruction the prompt requires you to do. So the writing assignment might say, consider this. Well, that just means to think about something. But it might say, discuss this or explain this. Well, that means they want you to write something. So if you see those kinds of keywords, that means they want you to actually write something down. Okay, so these words, discuss, explain, it's those kinds of commands or questions that we assign to paragraphs. So now that I know they want me to discuss this or explain this, I'm going to give each paragraph a job. So down here where it says P1 and P2, I'm just going to give it a job. Okay, discuss that, explain that, and what that does is it allows me to know what I'm going to write about in each interior paragraph. Okay, so just reviewing that. This is just a review reminder so that when I get to the actual writing assignment itself, it's clear what I'm doing when I outline. Okay, so that's what outlining is. It just includes the thesis statement. So we write the thesis, and then we give each paragraph a job. Okay? All right, and these are the 3 principles that I seek to do when writing the actual body paragraphs. Okay, so I'm going to come back to these, but these are the 3 things that I'm trying to do. I'm trying to be personal, which means reveal information about myself, right? And I'm trying to be specific and thorough, which means use some exact references and share all key information. And I'm trying to write to impress, which means I'm trying to really showcase what I know and share information that reveals what I understand. Okay, and so these are the 3 content criteria that I'm trying to accomplish inside of the body paragraphs when I write them. Okay, so let's look at the actual prompt itself. I just wanted to take a few moments and review that information, but let's look at the actual writing assignment. So this is the journal prompt 1, the first personal expository writing assignment that I usually share with students when we begin writing personal expository. And it's the dollar bill prompt that I saw. And so it says, if you could choose to honor one person by placing them on a dollar bill, who would it be? Which dollar bill? Of course, that's not as important, but you could, it is there, so we'll go ahead and say it. 2 paragraphs, reasons why. Okay, so why means all possible reasons, not just one reason. Many students, I think, have been tripped up by the question why, is because they think why means one reason only. Why means all possible reasons. So really, whole paragraphs can be built around the question why. Okay, and then it says use examples from his or her life. So what am I doing? I'm just sorting out the writing assignment and determining all the different things I'm supposed to write. All right, the different requests of the writing assignment. So the first thing I need is to write my thesis. Well, the thesis is always going to reveal my answer to the main question or main request. It's also going to reveal the thing that I have to mention before I can actually get into detail in the body paragraph. So the thesis in this case, the main question I'm asked says, if you could choose to honor one person by placing them on a dollar bill, who would it be? Well, I gotta reveal my answer to that before I can really discuss anything else. So my thesis is going to answer that question. And so the person I chose was Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. So my thesis is going to say, if I could choose to honor one person by placing them on a dollar bill, I would choose to honor Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Okay, and so there's my thesis there. All right, now that I have that, I have to finish the rest of the outline. I need to decide what's going to go into each paragraph. So these are the body paragraphs. These are not the introduction or conclusion paragraphs at all. I'm talking strictly about the middle paragraphs here. Okay, so paragraph 1, which is body paragraph, and then paragraph 2, I gotta have at least 2. It says 2 paragraphs, right? So 2 paragraphs. Now, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna decide what's gonna go in each one. And so when I'm looking at the writing assignment, what they're asking me, this part right here, this is the part that I'm focusing on to give my body paragraphs their jobs. So reasons why, I'm gonna say that is something that is going to likely show up in both paragraphs. So I'm gonna put that here. Okay, and that can happen. But then it also says use examples from his or her life. So I'm going to put that here, primarily in paragraph 2. Some examples. Okay? Now, all I did was I just kind of purposed in my mind to make sure I included everything that the writing assignment asked me for. That's really, really key. Including everything that the writing assignment asked for. So now I'm going to begin to write. I'm just kind of giving myself some space. And if you're writing yours, you can also you can follow the same model that I'm using, the same outline structure if you want to. If you have a different idea, you can do that as well. I don't think this writing assignment asks for a whole lot of different things. And so most of it is just reasons why you would choose what you choose. And then the examples are going to be more specified illustrations of the reasons why, I think. Okay? So I'm going to revisit these 3 principles here. This is what I'm seeking to do inside the writing assignment. I'm trying to be personal, which means I'm trying to reveal what I value. Okay? And relate whatever I choose to myself. So my topic is Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. I'm going to be trying to relate him to myself as I write the paragraphs. I'm also going to be trying to be specific, which means use some exact references, okay, and key information. I'm also going to be sharing what I know about Dr. King, whatever the case is. That whatever I know about him, I'm going to be just kind of showcasing that information and trying to include it. And so if you're permitted to do research, then it's okay to do some. You just want to make sure that you are not subjecting all of what you put to what's on the internet. Okay, you want to make sure that it's coming from your own mind mainly. Okay, all right. So I'm going to begin to write, and you can write yours at the same time I'm writing mine. Okay, reasons why I would honor Dr. King. I'll just say he'll be on the $30 bill. I'll just do it that way. And so why would I honor him? myself of the three principles. Now, what I've just given here are some reasons I'm going to honor Dr. King. Okay? But now I've noticed that I haven't really shared anything personal yet. So since I'm talking about him, what I'm going to do is relate him back to myself and share some personal reasons why I want to honor him, and what he as a person has to do with me. Remember, being personal means finding a way to relate whatever you're discussing back to yourself and revealing what you value. Okay? And so we revisit PowerPoint. It says reveal what you value. All right? Relate the topic to yourself. So that is my goal as I'm now writing about Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Okay? So I'm going to say something to tie him to myself personally. And so I'm going to put that text in red so that it's obvious that I'm being personal. paragraph is probably a little bit bigger than it needs to be. But I would say I've added some personal information, reasons why. And now I'm going to use some more. But in this paragraph, I'm going to share some examples from his life. Okay, his life and experience. All right. You'll notice that I pause on occasion, and sometimes it's to restructure my word choice as I'm thinking about how I'm saying things. Sometimes it's just simply to think. I want to emphasize that it's okay as a writer for you to stop and think about what you're writing. Sometimes I feel like students, as they're writing, they are bothered if the ideas don't come to them all at once, or if when they begin to write a paragraph, the ideas just don't seem to be there free flowingly. I want you to know as a student that that's okay. It's okay to think. The best ideas are produced by thinking. And so if you're writing and you just don't have anything within the first 2 seconds, that doesn't mean something's wrong with you. Okay, that's what I want you to know. It's okay to think about what you're writing, and as a matter of fact, you should. And the best essays and writing assignments are produced by thinking. Okay, and so just be encouraged to think as you write, and it's okay to stop and think about what would be the best ideas to produce or the best thing to say uh, within the scope of the paragraph or part of the essay that you're in. Okay, so you'll see me pause on occasion, and that could mean that I'm either correcting something or thinking about which ideas would be best to be placed where it is I am in the paragraph. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to look up when he delivered the I Have a Dream speech. So I'm just going to August 28th, 1963. Okay, so once again, I got a lot of information, but nothing really personal. So what I'm going to try to do is relate this back to myself. Okay, I'm going to do that again. I've been showcasing what I know about Dr. King, and now I am going to relate, find a way to relate my reasons back to myself. Okay. I'm going to put this in red. Alright, so Dr. King's efforts to gain civil rights for racial minorities is very significant for me personally, as I know that many of the liberties what he did without what Dr. King and other civil rights activists did, I likely would not have been able to attend the same school as the same schools that I attended, or have the same quality of life. As a result, I am very appreciative for his life and work to help me as an African American. Okay. His courage and willingness to endure hardship even to the point of his death is something that I still think about. It gives me great respect for him and a desire to be like him. Alright. So what have I done? Alright, I have related my topic, who is Dr. King, to myself. And you might not be finished with yours, or you might have been long finished. Everybody has their own writing pace. But what I intended to do on purpose was to showcase what I know. Okay, so that's this principle here. That's right to impress. And so all of this, pretty much everything that I wrote, aside from the personal information, is is doing that. Okay, I share some specific things. All right, especially down here. So I'm gonna put all of this in purple, showcasing factual information that I know about Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Okay, so I just put that in purple because that's where I'm writing to impress, showcasing what I know. Okay, also relating it back to myself. So that's what the personal information is. Me purposefully tying whatever it is I'm discussing back to me. Okay? And then when I say specific or thorough, that just means the usage, and thorough rather, that just means the usage of exact references. So I mentioned some specific things like the civil rights movement. Okay? So that's a specific reference. Okay? Down here, I mentioned it again, so I'll just kind of do that one more time. But mention some other things. I mentioned another person like Rosa Parks, right? And I could keep going. The I Have a Dream speech at the Washington Monument. All of these are specific references of things. The jailing in Birmingham. Okay, these are specific references, and so that's what I mean when I say be specific. Use some specific references to things, some names, of people, places, things, titles. All right, all of those aid the impressive factual information, the impressive factual information that you use. Okay, that's all part of it. I won't say it aids it, but it's all part of it. It's all part of the specific factual information that you are using. Okay, so this is mine. I'll read it through, and I could keep going on and on. I really have. This is really. This is more like 2 paragraphs instead of 1. I ended up writing more, and that's, sometimes that happens. I'll go ahead and split it like that, and that way, and indent, because I can almost hear my students telling me, Mr. Claiborne, you didn't indent. So I'll read it through, and I'll just see how it sounds, and we'll wrap up and close. Okay, so it says, initially, I would honor Dr. King by putting him on the $30 bill. Dr. King is considered to be an iconic American hero because he was the most recognized advocate for civil rights during the civil rights movement. He is considered to be an inspiration not only to average citizens and people of all demographics, but he is also a model leader and profile in leadership for leaders of all kinds, whether they are sports professionals, business leaders, heads of state, or other political leaders. Also, Dr. King has greatly inspired me personally to treat others the way I want to be treated. I really value his selflessness and willingness to do what he believed was right, even in the face of criticism. That is a quality that I revere and want to develop for myself. Okay, so I'm being personal. It inspires me to be courageous instead of selfish and timid, which has probably been my natural tendency. So I'm explaining something about myself. Considering a role model like Dr. King has caused me to question why I am so focused on myself, because his life shows how the greatest rewards involve other people and doing something for someone else. All right. And then reasons why, and this is going to use examples from his life. Okay. And so we mentioned some specific things that happened in his life. Okay. As the most recognizable face of the civil rights movement, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. displayed his courage and brilliance in many events, like the Alabama bus boycott. I forgot to put that in blue, so I'm going to put that in blue now. In which he helped persuade the bus industry to stop mistreating and discriminating against African Americans. His friend Rosa Parks likely sparked the idea, and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. helped organize boycotts, sit-ins, and other forms of protest that gained public attention to show all of civil society how evil it was to discriminate against other people. He also delivered his world-famous "I Have a Dream" speech at the Washington Monument in 1963, and I looked up the date of that, in August of 1963, which really united many Americans in the effort to help racial minorities gain civil rights. Even though he had glorious moments like this, he also suffered persecution, like when he was jailed in Birmingham for organizing protests. It was there that he wrote his famous letter on toilet paper. Dr. King's efforts to gain civil rights for racial minorities is very significant for me personally. I know that many of the liberties I have today are a direct result of what he did. Without what Dr. King and other civil rights activists did, I likely would not have been able to attend the same schools that I attended and have the same quality of life. As a result, I'm very appreciative of his life and work to help me as an African American. His courage and willingness to endure hardship, even to the point of his death, is something that I still think about. It gives me great respect for him and a desire to be like him. Okay? So, I could have gone on and on even more about Dr. King, but this responds to the question about who we would choose to honor and reasons why, with examples from his or her life. Okay? So I'm going to put myself back on main video here. Okay, hopefully that was pretty simple. I hope it was. This is a process that involves practice, and so if you are still writing or still generating ideas, don't be discouraged. It is something that we all develop in. Writing in general is something that everybody develops in, and so I do encourage practice to develop. That's how I develop. Some people are just natural born writers, and that's okay. You as a writer, you as a student, want to begin and start where you are, and take hold of the concepts that you're learning and practice them. And I am confident that you will improve. Okay, so feel free to let me know if you have any questions. I really hope this was helpful, and we'll be doing others that are like it. This is just prompt number 1, the dollar bill prompt. Once again, let me know any feedback, commentary that you have. I want to thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.